I made a horror game, my first horror game, in a week. Let me tell you why. Well, I don't fucking know. The why is not important. How? This is how I made NDRL, Neuro Desolation Research Lab. The other day, I was heading nowhere in life, so I looked at some game jams on itch.io, and there it was, Scream Jam 2023, a 1-week challenge to make a horror game. I didn't really have a choice, it was sitting there, waiting for me to join, so I did. On the first day of the jam, I realized something very important. It didn't have a theme. My dumbass was left with no ideas. But luckily, my head is empty all the time anyway, and out of nowhere, I had some musical inspiration. I felt like Mozart really just came in me, so I started making some music for the game. I wanted it to feel creepy, but also be catchy. So I found a spooky guitar and put together a song. It's so complex, it has 4 notes in total. Then slapped a music box on top of it and called it a day. Haha, just kidding. I made another song and then called it a day. This one kinda sounds like the old Valve intro. Or I could be going crazy, I don't know. After all that, I was like, damn, all my games look the same. I should really switch it up. So I went for a PS1 style, but I combined it with modern aspects. But the PS1 style requires, well, textures. So day 2 was spent putting images in this tool I found on itch.io and getting pixelated textures in return. Day 3 started like any other jam day for me, your average idiot, because I still didn't have any idea where and how the game plays out. I needed a creepy story to go along with this place I cooked up in Blender. It's supposed to be an old lab facility type thing, I don't fucking know. Moving on to day 4, I thought it would be cool for weird people to roam the place and say cryptic shit. I really need help. I then figured out an effect to add to their voice and got to recording. But for them to talk to you, I also needed an interaction system. Now, thanks to my advanced programming skills, I was able to make a universal system which I also used for the items. Again, thanks to my impeccable programming skills, everything totally worked fine from the first try. On day 5, I woke up and I was like, I still need more textures. So after some more texture time, I made the final additions to the story and the NPCs, and for some fucking reason, called it a day. Right about now, I should mention that this was ironically my best game jam, score-wise and also time management-wise. I had 70% of the game done by day 5, which rarely happens. I used to make half the game on the last day. Anyway, back to day 6, when I added 2 of the most important things, the mission and the game progression. Now, the mission sits shamelessly at the top of the screen, so that wasn't very hard, but the game loop took a little longer to finish. I added transitioning in between levels and edited them to make sense with the story, and then topped it off by thinking of a possible ending, which turned out to be disappointing, just like my life, but more on that later. Now it was day 7, the last day of the jam. Surprisingly, I only had 2 things to do: fix bugs and add jump scares, which I had a pretty simple plan for, but I'm not spoiling it. Go play the game. If you don't, fuck you. Yeah, so a couple of bugs and totally scary jump scares later, the game was finished and I submitted it on itch.io. Something was off though. When my personal game tester personally game tested the game, some items just disappeared. I had a big bug. Thankfully, the guy in charge announced we would have 1 day to fix such issues. So I did just that, in a whopping 5 minutes. Yeah, I know, I'm dumb. So the jam ended and that's how I made my first horror game in 7 days. That's it. Bye. No, wait. Ratings. I then played and rated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 26 total games. I don't even like horror games, but some of them turned out to be cool as fuck. Anyway, this was the result for my game. Besides aesthetics, out of 500 games, I'm satisfied with every other rating, so I'd say it was a successful jam. So successful that I decided I'm gonna post a little update for the ending, the missions, and the jump scares. That's it, video's finished. You can leave now.